So I want to keep talking a little bit about vaccination and about Republican Senator Rand Paul. Republican Senator Rand Paul has always been sort of an odd guy, not the person I'd go to for political philosophy or medical advice or really anything. He has been obsessed with badgering Dr. Anthony Fauci and other medical experts with conspiracy theories throughout the pandemic. Dr. Rand Paul, yes, is refusing to get vaccinated against COVID, apparently for no better reason than he wants to anger liberals. So what do we know about this so far? Senator Rand Paul has now said on a couple of different shows he is not going to get a coronavirus vaccine. And Rand has said this multiple times. He said it during an interview with John Katzimatidis on his radio show on WABC 770 AM. Here is Rand Paul saying it on, who knows, some other interview that he did. Let's take a listen to it.
Have you received the vaccine yet now that it's, widely available to anybody in the U.S.? Do you plan to?
Yeah, I had the disease naturally. There's about 100 million Americans who have had it naturally. All the scientific evidence, all of the studies have shown that there is long-lasting immunity from having it naturally. If people want to get vaccinated, if they're older, it's not an unreasonable thing. But I think for people in my age range and younger who have had it, I think the vaccine is superfluous, but everybody can make their own decision on it. In a free country, everybody gets to. So at this point, yes, I don't think there's enough evidence leading me to think that I need to be vaccinated since I've already had the disease naturally.
Now, unfortunately, there is a lot, at least probably wrong with what Rand Paul is saying. It's important to mention a lot of the things Rand Paul is claiming to know for sure are sort of open questions, but we have more and more information that points actually the other way. So there are some extensive antibody tests that have been done. And first and foremost, it does appear that the immunity you get from a vaccine lasts longer than the immunity you get from recovering from coronavirus naturally. Many studies and papers have found this. We're showing a screenshot of one of them to our video audience right now. So in other words, there's a reason why people are being told, even if you've recovered from the virus, still go ahead and get yourself vaccinated, because it appears as though, we hear about people getting COVID twice. It appears as though the immunity is longer lasting and more robust from the vaccine than from just getting the virus and recovering. Now, second, again, from what we know so far, and much of this is still being studied, but why take a chance? It is less likely, it appears less likely that the variants will get around vaccine-induced immunity than natural recovery immunity. In other words, the antibodies that you have from the vaccine are more likely to protect you from variants. And this means all of the major variants of concern. The British variant, of course, if you recovered from the British variant, you're well protected against the British variant. But big picture, we have the British variant, the Brazilian variant, the South African variant, California, New York, India, and there's probably more at this point in time. It appears as though if you got COVID and recovered naturally, you were less protected against the variants than if you just go and get yourself vaccinated. Now, this could all be wrong, but that's where things are pointing right now. And so what Rand Paul is saying very casually on multiple interviews and radio and TV programs is counter to the best medical science that we have right now. It furthers vaccine skepticism. It holds down vaccination rates, which we're hoping for. I mean, listen, people who want to get out of this, we're hoping for vaccination rates to go up. And if people who are already more prone to be vaccine skeptical, because that's what Republicans are right now, if they hear Rand Paul say this and then they act on that basis, it hurts all of us. Now, the bottom line is that this is merely Rand Paul I'm talking about, sort of right-wing populist type libertarian tinged virtue signaling. Everyone should be free to do whatever they want. It's all framed as being about liberty and being about for the people. Sure, I'm not going to disagree with that, but let's give them real information. Remember that Tucker Carlson on Fox News has been pushing a bunch of really vaccine skeptical stuff without saying whether he himself is vaccinated. We did a segment a few weeks ago. Sean Hannity on his radio show refused to say whether he has been vaccinated. He actually had some very strange rant where he said, I had research stuff and the Johnson & Johnson vaccine was sort of the one that was most interesting to me. But now that everybody's saying, get vaccinated, did you get vaccinated? Now I don't want to say because of medical privacy and whatever. Now, it has nothing to do with HIPAA. Medical privacy means HIPAA. People just casually asking each other, have you been vaccinated? Which vaccine did you get? Did you have side effects? Doesn't violate medical privacy, doesn't violate HIPAA. But Sean Hannity now playing coy. Something as simple as a historically effective vaccine that will save millions of people versus just letting the virus run rampant has now become a politicized issue. It's being couched by some of these Republicans as an issue of liberty and of freedom when it is really not what it is. Now, for people who like to say, because I know people will say this, Rand Paul is a doctor. Okay, listen. Rand Paul is a medical doctor. Now, some people will email me, some anti-vax, this is so weird. Anti-vax people will email me and they'll say, David, you should really highlight the work of doctors who are saying you should not get the vaccine. And then I look and it's a PhD. It's like a doctor of education. We're talking about medical doctors. Rand Paul is a medical doctor. That is true. He has training as an ophthalmologist, an eye doctor. He hasn't been board certified since 2011. And I love my ophthalmologist. I've had the same one for 30 years. I don't go to him for epidemiological questions. I don't go to him for questions about infectious disease when there are so many experts in the field, including one we interviewed yesterday, Dr. Isaac Bogosh from the University of Toronto and Toronto Hospital. So for anybody who's going to email me and say, but sir, Rand Paul is a medical doctor. Okay. Save the email. I don't need it. If you ever feel like you just don't have enough time to read all the books you want to read, you have to check out one of my favorite apps called Blinkist. Blinkist takes thousands of popular nonfiction books and distills each one down into an ebook or audiobook that you can get through in just 15 minutes, where you're getting all the key takeaways from the book. Just imagine how you'll be able to expand your horizons and knowledge by being able to soak up all of the important insights from 10 different books in an afternoon. Obviously, it's perfect for exposing yourself to a new book you otherwise wouldn't have time for, or you can use it to revisit a book you've already read, or use it to preview a book before you buy the full version and read it. I recently read A Brief History of Time, of course, by the great Stephen Hawking. This is a book that I have been aware of for so long, and other things got in the way. And it was fantastic to check it out on Blinkist. Blinkist has books on politics, philosophy, science. They have 27 different nonfiction categories, and a subscription is only about $8 a month, and you get the entire library. But you can try it totally free and get 25% off a subscription when you go to Blinkist.com/Pakman. I've put the link right underneath this video.